It's now to discuss retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey. Sergeant Dorsey, what exactly do you think law enforcement is looking for at the Laundrie family home? Just any clue?
Anything that would tie this young man to the disappearance, what may have happened in the interim in the weeks following what we saw on social media of them. And we know now that his car allegedly was driven to the reserve and then it made its way back to the house, as well as what role, if any, the parents may have played in this. I mean, this kid is 22 years old. I get that he's a grown man, but he's 22 years old. What influence, if any, do they have over him? He decides to go backpacking and they couldn't stop him?
Police say that he returned home without Gabby on September 1st. Gabby's family reported her missing 10 days later, September 11th. Why is it only today, nearly 3 weeks after she disappeared, that the home where Gabby and Brian lived is being searched?
Probably because information that was given to the police by the family did not give them pause. And evidently they've learned something. They've stopped the search in certain areas. His car is back at the house. And perhaps, I don't know this to be true, but is the family pointing them in a direction different from where they should be looking? All of this is, begs to be answered. And so while, the family is giving information, we have to trust but verify that it's correct. Their obligation and onus is to their son first, I would imagine. What do you
think? What goes through your mind when you watch the body cam video after police, I think in Utah, pulled them over? Gabby and Brian had been fighting. She had apparently scratched his face. I'm not exactly sure all the details of what actually went on, but obviously she's alive and upset, but alive. Is there anything police could have done differently, should have done differently if a woman police officer had been there, if somebody trained better in domestic abuse had been there? Would things have turned out differently?
That's a lot of what ifs, right? But I certainly think that police officers, I've witnessed it firsthand, have a tendency to downplay domestic violence, discord, particularly male officers. It just is what it is. And maybe had there been a female officer there, they would have handled the situation more differently. They maybe would have given more credence to whatever was going on, or asked particular questions that may have led them in a direction that would have put this young woman in a safe place and away from this guy. So, there's a lot of supposition, but I think that maybe, I hate to second guess them, but maybe those officers kind of dropped the ball over there in Utah.
How could Brian Laundrie just go missing? Nobody would be keeping track of his whereabouts, given that his fiance was missing?
Well, again, that's a question that begs to be answered. He's 22 years old. These young people can't hardly be away from their social media devices for a moment, let alone for weeks and days on end. And this is your fiance, someone that you were, about to vow to spend the rest of your life with, and you're not concerned about her well-being and her whereabouts. So you decide to go backpacking. All of it stinks to high heaven to me. And again, I wonder what kind of influence, if any, his parents have over him, and how come they weren't more influential in getting him to stand down?
It's such a tragic story, just awful. Retired LAPD Sergeant Cheryl Dorsey, thank you as always for joining us.